Hello, hello, hello. So, I decided to make a video of all the SSS combis for this Labyrinth event. Um, I believe I'm the first person to have S in all of the labyrinths, so I just wanted to share what I've been doing. Some labyrinths are a lot easier than others. For example, one is fairly easy to get SSS on, and then the fourth one is quite difficult. So, just gonna run you through. My idea is basically just to show you the combi, including the skill tree, and then show you the replay. So for this one, we're using Lemon because obstacle destruction, and he moves really quickly during the boost, and Tiger Lily for similar reasons. Using speed treasures, pickaxe, again, theme of destruction, and that's also why we're following the middle route. Initially, I thought the bottom route would actually be better because it just gives you more boost for longer, but turns out destruction is really, really important here. So here's the run. Nothing too complicated. Well, I lied. This one's probably one of the harder ones in terms of executing it, because you first of all have to focus always on destroying as many obstacles as you can. Also, another thing is Lemon, when he destroys obstacle during his ability, it gives more points, like more destruction points, than you would be getting outside of his ability. So outside it's like 152,000 here. Inside the ability, if you pause here, it's like 500,000, right? So what I'm getting at is sometimes you don't want to grab the coin parties in anticipation for an upcoming boost. Likewise, you might want to jump over an obstacle instead of destroying it in anticipation for a boost. I didn't really have the energy to do that. I don't have all the boosts, the turbo boosts memorized, so I'm just playing it by ear. But that's something to keep in mind if you need a little bit extra score. The other thing to keep in mind is those turbos at the bottom. Now, since Lemon is so magnetic, and since you already have some magnet from the skill tree, you will not miss the turbos. I actually don't think it's possible to miss the turbos at the bottom there, even if you jump, but you sometimes want to delay when you grab the turbos. For example, if there are a lot of turbos in a row, and I think one such instance is going to come up here, the last turbo you want to grab as late as possible, because what that does is it effectively lengthens the turbo duration, because there's less overlap between the second to last turbo and the last turbo. So that's why at some points during this playthrough you'll see me basically jumping away from the turbo as it's being magnetized. That's just to increase the speed just a little bit for longer. Yeah, so the rest of this run, similar as it has been so far, just destroying obstacles. And yeah, good luck. You should comfortably be able to get SSS with this. This is the easiest, in my opinion, labyrinth to get SSS. For all the subsequent ones, SSS becomes, slightly less trivial. But yeah, enjoy. So as we're nearing the end of this run, I want to point out that this is by no means the best, playthrough out there. I believe this is almost 200 million points behind first place. So there's definitely a lot more room for improvement and strategizing here. But if your goal is just to get SS, this should be good enough. And there we go. This is the entire run. So now we're going to talk about the second labyrinth. For this one, we're going to follow the bottom path of the tree. It just gives more points for bears, and it just works overall the best. I think I tried all three, and this is what worked best. For the primary cookie, we're going to use Vampire, and this is because, first of all, he goes pretty quickly, and second of all, there's a lot of energy regeneration during his run, which just helps us collect more bears throughout the run. Blackberry will be a relay, and actually, Blackberry will be a relay for labyrinths 2 through 4, so for all, or 2 through 5 rather, so for all the rest of them. And that's basically for the same reason. She gets really far because of her revive and the treasures you saw. So for this run, keep in mind that given this skill tree, if you're using the same one, whenever you jump, either single jump or double jump, or when you're in the air in general, there is a magnet. So make sure that you use that to the best of your abilities and grab as many bear jellies as you can. The other thing I wanted to point out is with Vampire, he gets points for passing through obstacles like this one. And 36,000 is not a lot of points, but it definitely does add up throughout the run. And this is, again, a long run, so any little bit of points always helps. Yeah, nothing really to say for Vampire's part, other than the very end, which I will talk about when it gets there. But for now, enjoy. So now as we're nearing Vampire's energy bar being drained, notice this health potion. You can jump over top the obstacle and grab it, just to extend his run a little bit. I don't know if that is the best strategy, but it's just so satisfying to jump into that when there's no energy left that I just couldn't resist. And yeah. With Blueberry now, nothing special. Really just focus on grabbing all the berries you can, destroying any obstacles you can during the ability, and things like that. But that's it for this labyrinth. And we're nearing the end of this run, so hopefully this one helped. The cutoff for SSS is quite tight here. I think it's 1.7 billion. So you're just barely getting here with this combi. And we almost got Blackberry's or Blueberry's ability out, but not quite. But there we go. We can collect our awards for SSS and move on to number 3. So the theme of the third labyrinth is jellies, collecting as many jellies as we can and making them worth as many points as we can. So again, we're going to use Turbo and Blueberry as the relay. And as the starter, we're going to use Sea Fairy Cookie, the queen of the ocean. She's just good at basically grabbing a lot of jellies during her ability, and she's also pretty fast during the ability, as well as pretty decent energy gain. I believe Moonlight is a fairly good substitute, although the leaderboard is pretty dominated with Sea Fairy at the moment. For the skill tree, you will notice we don't actually go fully for one path, and that's because the top right path just gives firework when you grab those rainbow star jellies, which is not ideal. We really just want to maximize all the jelly points that we can, which is the path that you saw there. And actually, one thing I forgot to mention while looking at the path is we definitely want to have a magnet. So whether that's the bottom magnet or the top, we want to have one of those. I chose the top because that one is basically just cheaper. It doesn't need to go all the way through the branch of the tree. So that's what I did. Again, I'm saying this a lot, but pretty straightforward run. Really, in line with the theme, you want to be grabbing all the jellies that you can. With the sewer jellies is what I'm going to call them, those little beads that fall down those pipes. I don't know exactly what the best way to jump into those are, but I think the way I have now is pretty decent. So yeah, enjoy. Nothing much to say really. And jump, jump, and we're done. 1.42 million. Yep, there we go, SSS. Now it's the dreaded moment we've all been waiting for, Labyrinth 4. So, if you've been playing Cookie Run Ovenbreak for any length of time, you will know why Labyrinth 4 is so incredibly painful. It's the same reason that Skater Queen is so difficult to play in Breakout because of all the jumping. So, as you can see, the path around the skill tree path around this labyrinth is themed around jumping. We're going to follow this middle path, which will give us extra jumps, slower energy loss, more energy in the beginning, and also more points per jump. And the top path, the shield, is very, very, very important. This gives us a shield every 40 jumps, which you will see during the run becomes a crucial factor in how much we can score. So you will see here Pomegranate is tired, and so am I. I ran this map, at least 20 times trying to get 940 million, which is the cutoff for SSS. It is quite high. And so one thing I want to point out is I play Cookie Run on my phone, and I usually enable sort of the tapping notifications. Like you can see on the screen, those white dots indicate where I'm tapping. And if you count how many white dots appear at a time, there are 6 of them. That's because I'm using 6 fingers to jump, like to spam it out as quickly as possible. Basically, I put my phone on a table and then I just slammed my hand into it for like 7 minutes. Which, by the way, this entire run is 7 minutes long. So you will see later on in just a little bit, I take a little break because my fingers were quite sore after doing this for the 20th time. But the general strategy here is don't be afraid to break shields. What I mean is you ideally don't want to break the shield coming from the first treasure, the jumper treasure, because that will make you lose points when you jump. But there are 3 other types of treasures. The first one is Pomegranate's Blessing, which I have 2 treasures on her from that. I don't actually think that's ideal. I think that, by the way, this is the break that I was talking about. But anyway, for the Blessing of Pomegranate, I don't actually think the shield is the best one. I think the best one is the +2 additional jumps, but I kind of forgot about it when I was doing it, and I'm definitely not going to touch this labyrinth again to redo it with that. So we're leaving it. So yeah, the shield from her Blessing, the shield from Turbo, and then the last one is the shield from the skill tree that I mentioned like a minute ago. And this tree gives you a free shield every 40 jumps. 40 kind of sounds like a lot, but if you look at this bar, I'm jumping 8 jumps basically every like 2-3 seconds. So you will have a free shield every 6 or 7 seconds or something like that. So basically try to time it around that. Don't be afraid to collide on obstacles. There I broke the jumper a little bit ago. Not ideal, but it's fine. And basically stay strong, because this is not only a lot of spamming, but it's a lot of spamming for a lot of time. You have the revive from Magma Bird, you then have the huge energy boost with Pomegranate's ability going into Blueberry. Then you have Blueberry's revive, and Blueberry also has a revive from Magma, in addition to the fact that the treasure, the middle treasure, also gives energy occasionally. Also these potions, and also the energy you get from those like stages, those mini quests throughout the run. Yeah, so one thing that can sort of ruin your run is falling into holes too many times. I do fall with Pomegranate once in this run. I didn't pay attention if it already happened or if it's about to happen, but I fall with her once, and that's not great. I probably lost something like 30 million points from that. but you still end up managing to hit the there it is. You still end up managing to hit the 940 million mark, even with a fall. So I won't be surprised if in a couple days, some of the tryhard Koreans, catch scent of this Labyrinth, and then they, have a 1.2 billion strat for this. But for now, we're happy with 940 million. And yeah, so I guess my biggest tip here is, find a way to spam 8 jumps in seconds. If you're using one finger, you're definitely not going to be able to spam it all out. Another thing is, it might be a good idea to occasionally collide on obstacles on purpose when there's a lot of places to fall in the map, because you will have that temporary fall immunity, which will help guarantee that you don't fall. And this is the end of Pomegranate, 620. Look at the huge energy boost going into Blueberry. And this is not even counting Magma Bird's revive skill and Blueberry's revive skill. The only moment of rest in this entire run is actually during Blueberry's ability, like the third one that's coming up here. Here, I just sort of let go of my phone, took a couple breaths, and then we resume. I actually forget to jump for 2 seconds here. Never mind. I lied. But yeah, keep jumping, stay strong, take breaks, drink some water. You can do it. Hopefully, in the next couple days, someone figures out an easier strat that doesn't require as much spamming to hit the SSS rank. But for now, this is what I have. And as of the making of this video, I believe I'm ranked 2nd for this Labyrinth. But I attribute that mostly to the fact that no one wants to run it. And yeah, a fun fact, actually. I want to ask you, an educated guess, how many jumps do you think I do throughout this entire run? You sort of have some hints with those, the mini quest. It's at stage 17, but how many jumps do you think that is? I'll give you a couple seconds to make your guess. Okay, I counted, and the actual number of jumps throughout these 7-8 minutes of running is actually almost 2,500. That's a lot of jumping. So yeah, final stretch here. Make sure you stay up to have some stalling, and then last revive, and we're all done. So unfortunately, it's not comfortably hitting SSS. We are pretty close to 940. So there isn't much room to mess up past that one fall that I mentioned that I had. But there we go. Deep breath, rest your fingers, they deserve it after that. And there's SSS. Hopefully this one helped. I think the skill tree helps a lot here with the shield. For Labyrinth 5, the skill tree is pretty simple. You want to follow the top route so that you have the 50 energy revive at the end of both cookies that you're using. That'll just help you run longer, survive longer, get more points. You know the drill. For the rest of the points, bottom path, because the rainbow bears will give significantly more points and the turbos will last longer. So on to the very last labyrinth. The tricky part of this labyrinth is really just the speed. It starts out quickly, but then it also gets faster and faster and faster as you continue running, and it's a fairly long run as well. I don't remember how long, but I'm gonna guess about 7-8 minutes because there's revives and things like that. So we're using Moonlight and her pet and her gorgeous new costume, and then Blueberry as the relay. So other than that, the treasures, we're using Turbo, and then 2 scoring treasures. So those 2 treasures that I'm using for their score, I honestly just picked them quite randomly. but they do seem to work quite well, and just looking at the state of the leaderboard now, it looks like most people are sticking with these two treasures, so we're rolling with it. And yeah, you should comfortably be able to get an SSS rating if you follow this. Actually, one thing that I also wanted to add is that as part of the skill tree, you do get turbo, like a turbo boost at some points in the map. And I just wanted to say that because it actually works out really, really well with the timing of Moonlight Cookie's skill. Very often during her skill, especially during the latter half of her skill where she's producing a lot of those star jellies like over here, you go really, really quickly. So that's definitely a plus to using the skill tree that I showed, and it just makes Moonlight all the better here. Other than that, I don't really have anything else to add, so just enjoy this playthrough. And here we are, the end of the run, 873 million. So there we go, SSS, last Labyrinth. Thank you for watching.